Welcome to Retired Life. Wish you were here, the show that celebrates living fully, laughing often, and saying yes to all the new adventures that life offers. I'm your host, Kim Lee, joined by my co host, Stuart Lee, and today we're headed into the proverbial pickleball court for a conversation that's about more than just the game. Our guest is Tristan Eldridge, the pro at Margaritaville, who teaches that the quality of our shots comes from the quality of our thoughts, and the way we play is influenced by the words we say. For all of us, especially those in our retired years, pickleball isn't just fun exercise, it's also a way to sharpen our focus, build confidence, and strengthen our community. So grab your paddle, settle in, and let's explore how mindset and attitude can transform not just your pickleball game, but your outlook on life.
Welcome, Tristan.
Thanks, Stuart.
Tell me about the new phenomenon. Can you give me some historical background on how it all became about?
Yeah, let's do that. With pickleball. Pickleball, a lot of people don't realize this, but it really was founded in the mid-'60s.
Wow.
Yeah, and the reason they don't think about that is because it really didn't take off until COVID. And about 2020 is when here in the South, it really took off. And the reason COVID, so, we all think of the negatives that came out of COVID, but pickleball is by far probably one of the greatest things that came out of COVID. And what pickleball did during COVID was it granted us community. In a time where we were all told to social distance and wear a mask and stay away, everybody could come to the pickleball courts and still have an opportunity from camaraderie. So pickleball, the birth of what we really call the major birth of pickleball, was really starting around 2020.
Wow, that's
How
interesting.
did you get into it?
Well, so during that time, I was actually in Orange Beach, Alabama, on vacation. And I stepped out on the balcony to watch the sunrise with my cup of coffee, and I heard this weird noise I'd never heard before. And it was sort of like, and I was like, what is that noise? And I knew it was coming from where the sport court was. So I walked around the balcony, and here was these four ladies out hitting some kind of ball. And it wasn't tennis, but they were on the tennis court using the tennis net, and they were hitting some strange ball with some strange paddle. And I was like, what are they doing? So I literally rode the elevator down, walked out the court and said, hi, I'm Tristan. I don't want to interrupt, but what are y'all playing? And they said, pickleball. I was like, well, pickle what? So that's how, and that was in 2020.
Well, it is an unusual name for a sport.
Yeah,
It is.
Do you know
fun.
how they came up with the name?
There's a lot of lore on how they came up with it, but no, I don't know the exact way how they came up with it.
Now, the ball in itself is so funny because it is like
It's just like in the picture. It's a wiffle ball.
It is
a wiffle ball.
But it's like you're playing ping pong. Kind
It's
of.
as if it's a lot of people laugh and say if tennis and ping pong had a baby, it would be pickleball.
For sure.
Using a wiffle ball.
Yeah, with a wiffle ball, right? It shares a lot of similarities. That the way you play ping pong, it's really interesting. So if you're on the baseline, from baseline to baseline, you play more like tennis. As the players come closer to the net, you play more ping pongish. So it does.
Yes.
It is a very interesting way of how you play the game.
So do you think people develop their reflexes if they're playing this and you're moving closer and closer?
It is because you have to. From the baseline to the baseline is 44 feet, and the ball will travel somewhere between 2 and 3 seconds in that kind of distance. But once you get to the net, you're only 14 feet away from somebody. The ball is on you in less than you blink your eye. So the hand-eye coordination closer to the net, or in the kitchen area as they call it, is hyper.
Yeah.
Yes,
have to
you
move.
have to
Gotta
have
be
quick
fast.
reflexes. Correct. Right.
So what do you enjoy most about teaching the retirees and seniors who are
Sure.
at the beginning? I think it was seniors that were picking it up the most. That's where I saw it, like probably 15 years ago. I saw seniors playing.
That was happening. They were starting to offer that at some of the rec centers, like the state or the city, county rec centers. They were offering that as an opportunity. Oddly enough, one of the greatest players, male players, Ben Johns, And he was in his early 20s. So the pros, there was two types of pros from like 2012 to 2020 in that kind of time frame. You had young guys like Ben John was only 18, 19 years old who was pro, just like Anna Lee now, who is 18 years old, has been pro since she was 13. So we did see the pro circuit had the younger players, just like in tennis, but recreationally, it was definitely more enjoyed by the senior community.
Yeah, wasn't it starting out as a senior game, but then the young people saw it and got involved in it?
Earlier on, Stuart, back in the 60s, the way it got started was some families on the after church on Sunday when they got the grandparents and the parents and the kids and the younger kids, you know, had 4 generations, would come over to their house for after Sunday lunch. And they wanted a sport that everybody could play together. And they just played around with it until they figured out. All the rules they came up with was to kind of help neutralize the young kids picking on the old, you know, their seniors.
The old guys like me.
Right. So it's really interesting how that sport developed. But it is now the fastest growing demographic right now, as of this year, is the 16 to 28-year-old demographic is the fastest growing in the sport. As far as for players.
It has their own national tournaments. And
yes, they do. And so now
time on TV
high schools are starting to have pickleball teams. Some of the state regulatory groups, like in Tennessee, is TSSAA, Tennessee. They're actually starting to offer scholarships. Now colleges are starting to offer scholarships. So it's going to be another major sport for sure in the next 5
Olympics.
years. They've talked about Olympics being somewhere probably in the early 30s, 2032, 2036 kind of time frame.
That's great.
Has to be ratified by 80 countries. There has to be 80 different countries that have a pickleball federation for him to be qualified as Olympic. So that's why it hasn't caught on quite yet. Asia is the fastest growing outside of the U.S. Asia is exploding. Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore.
They'll be picking up those countries fast.
And one of the reasons they're loving it over there is because they all come from badminton. That's huge over there. And this is anybody who's played badminton before, the badminton court is the same dimensions as the pickleball court. And you do have some overhead smashes and you do have some short plays. So it's the karaoke.
I can see
there's
the
a lot of
whole-
symbolism there. Yeah.
And the merchandise has gone crazy. I've got a brother that plays, and he went and bought him a new paddle. And he said, I can't tell you how much I spent because I don't want my wife to know.
5 years ago, it's a funny story. So the paddle I play with happens to be a friend of mine. We both started playing pickleball at the same time back in my hometown of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And one day we were playing with the paddle and we were talking about paddle. He's like, this is not anything to this paddle. I think I can make one. So he went home and took a skill saw and sawed it in half, saw how they made it, resourced the materials over from different countries and started building. He's a mechanical engineer, decided to start building his own paddles just for kicks and giggles, and found out that he could actually build a really good paddle. And now 5 years later, he's a national brand with Sterling merchandise and paddles, and he's got pros using his paddles. So
that's excellent.
It's a really interesting story. There's so many success stories coming out of pickleball.
That's cool.
So talking about the mindset.
Yes.
Now, you say the quality of our shots comes from the quality of our thoughts.
That's so cool. Yes.
Explain that.
I have said that many a time. my pickleball clients would say, yes, that is definitely a Tristan saying. So I come from my background before I got into pickleball is a life coach. I've led men's groups and done life coaching for almost 2 decades. And so the quality of our shots are determined by the quality of our thoughts is a phrase that I use in real life and when I'm counseling or working with somebody in a life coaching scenario, how powerful our thoughts are, our mind. And a lot of people, what I've learned over my time is people love to be doers. They just want to go do something. Thank you, Nike, for the just do it, by the way. that got us into the mindset of just go out there and do it. But before you can do it, there's actually 2 other aspects that we should be mindful of. Number one, we should be able to verbalize something before we can do it. And then before we verbalize it, we need to see it. So years ago, I came up with a methodology that's called see, say, do. It's 3 simple words. We already know them. But when you put them together, it's see, say, do. Now it gives you a mental clarity and focus. First, I want to see what I want to do. Then I remind myself by verbalizing that's what I want to do. And then I'm more likely to do what I wanted to do. So the doing is the third piece of it. You've got to be, you got to see it first, think it, then verbalize it, and then you're more likely to emphasize it.
That's probably what I do, because I do all these things and I'm like, how did I wind up getting into this? But I see something, I tell everybody, I'm doing that.
There
The
you go.
podcast.
And there
I'm
you
doing
are.
the podcast.
And there's the verbalization.
And then
Right.
Now
that's
you're doing it.
Yes.
So see, you
I'm
first
going to
saw
write a
it.
book. I
There
see,
you go.
oh yeah, I'm going to do that. And I do it.
There you go. And that's how it works.
I got to talk to my grandkids about this.
So it's very easy to remember, see, say, do, but it's a paragraph of a couple paragraphs of information, obviously.
So on the pickleball court, the negative thoughts, you're trying to tell people, get rid of that.
Negative thoughts, boy, they come whether we want them to or not, don't they?
Yeah.
And they show up. They show up at the most inopportune times, right?
Yeah.
And so, yes, on the pickleball court, no different than anywhere else in life, Stuart, we've got to remember that if there is something that's not positive coming my way, whether it's my partner is sending it my way, the opponents are sending it my way, or even I'm creating it, if it's not positive, then we have a choice. The choice is to acknowledge that it's not positive and push it away. And that's not just enough to push it away. We've got to go one more step and give me something positive. Nope, I reject that. I'm going to do better this next shot. I reject that. I am going to execute how I know I should. I reject that. I'm going to follow it up by I'm going to.
That's just
the
a life
positive.
lesson.
Well, of course
period.
it is. Yeah, of course
So
it is.
pickleball could teach us a lot.
It is. I tell people that you'll hear people say all the time, pickleball is life. And it used to bother me when I heard people say that because pickleball is not life. But I realized I couldn't talk them out of thinking that way because to some people, Stuart, they're so addicted to pickleball, it becomes their life.
Well, I have a brother that's exactly like that.
There you go.
He plays like 5 and 6 times a week.
And you know what's interesting? I always like to ask people, what did you do before pickleball? What were you doing 5 or 6 days a week before pickleball? And it's really interesting to hear from different people. One guy that is one of my clients and friends up at Latitudes, I said, what did you do? And he's like, really nothing. I was just stressed and I didn't have an outlet for my stress. So pickleball has become his outlet to help him not be so stressed. So everybody comes to pickleball for a different reason and gets a different reason, gets a different benefit out of it, for sure.
So how would you talk to seniors who are new to the game, where giving them the confidence to learn it, do it?
That's such a good word. I love the C word. And when I coach, I call it the C word. It's called confidence. And anytime I say, hey, what's the C word? Anybody that's taking lessons from me should know. You yell out confidence. That is what I feel like is the secret ingredient for players that are progressing and doing well and moving on, and people who are stuck or plateaued or frustrated. It's really the confidence. And if you think about how do we get confidence in any other area of life, confidence comes from seeing success. The more success, the more in pickleball related. If I'm trying to say drive a shot and get it over the net and I hit it and it doesn't go, then I'm a little frustrated. But if I hit it again and it works, and then second time it works, and third time, then the next day when I come back out, I feel like I can just walk up to the court and drive that ball. I may or may not, but the confidence is there that I can.
Oh, I like that.
So confidence is important.
Exactly. Now, when you get a new person that walks up there and they're looking at it and trying to decide, how do you persuade them to come on out and play? And I'm talking about senior people.
Sure,
now.
senior people, yeah. So I guess I'll give you 2 examples. So at a Latitude Margaritaville, or any 55 plus community, They usually have instructional classes that are there for beginners. So I know we do. We have what we call a class 101, a 201, and a 301. And 101 is for people who've never played pickleball, and have maybe even never played a sport, but they want to kind of know the ins and outs before they just go out there and try to figure it out on their own. So 101's great for that. And 201 just builds on that, and 301 builds on that as far. Outside of a 55 plus community, let's say like in Bay County, we have a couple of county courts. So anybody can just walk up to the courts, and you walk up and you see people playing, and you're not sure, should I go in? How do I get invited to play? Do I even know how the skills? If you're a real beginner, you're gonna feel really intimidated because you're gonna see all these people hitting these shots and running around, and you don't know what's going on. The score sounds weird, and people are moving around, and it's really hard to figure it out on your own. So my advice has always been, like in any other sport, if you're interested in playing baseball, what do? You get a coach to teach you baseball. Soccer, you get a coach to teach you soccer. You know, all the other sports have coaches to help you when you're wanting to learn something. And as seniors, I think it's even more important that we take the time to get coaching initially while we're learning, for two reasons. Number one, you'll learn all the correct mechanics and all the correct lingo, and that will give you confidence when you come back out on the court. So number one. Number two is really for safety purposes. So one of the things seniors 55 plus have to remember is that we're not as mobile as we once were, we're not as flexible as we once were, and we don't recover as fast as we used to. So what we're finding on the seniors is that they are so excited about learning how to play pickleball. Reason is, I finally figured it out. Because it reminds you of being in elementary school and playing dodgeball and playing four squares and playing it takes you back to a simpler time when we all just really had fun playing with your classmates at school. You really didn't care who won and lost. You were having recess. It was fun. And because it's a wiffle ball and because it plays a little slower, I think it takes our senior minds back to a happier day and time. That's number one. But what we forget is we're not as mobile and limber as we were back then either. So having that structured approach to a beginner who's never played before, highly, highly cannot stress the importance of getting with a coach who can make sure you understand, recovery time, what you should be doing, what you can't. How about nutrition? How about, hydration? Things that you might not think about if you just kind of walk onto the court and think it's all about what you do with the paddle. It's about 50% of what you do with your paddle and about 50% all the other factors that you may not know that a good coach will be able to impart to their clients.
So how do you mix? I have seen people who have played pickleball for a while hurt themselves pretty good.
Yes.
So how do you try to keep that from happening? What's some?
That's a great question. And some of that is personalized, right? Some of it's personalized. Pickleball, one of the things I love about pickleball is we have people who have a intense sports background who come into the sport, pick it up really quickly and roll with it. Like never missed a beat. We have other people who have never played a sport in their life. And now they're like, well, everybody else is doing it. Maybe I should try. Maybe this is the one sport I can actually play, right? Because some of the other sports have things going on that maybe you thought when you were younger you weren't coordinated enough. And when we were younger, how many times somebody might have said, well, you're not good enough to play football. You're not fast enough to play soccer, and you don't have enough coordination to play basketball. Well, then you don't play any sports. But now that you're older, you have more time. Maybe you've developed some mobility, and now you feel like. So what's fascinating about what you've just asked is being able to come in from a multitude of levels. When a player comes in, no matter whether they're coming in with a great sports background or not so great of a sports background, having that balance, learning the balance of how much play versus how much time off is a personal thing, and a person just has to feel their body and listen to it. And for me personally, I'm 56. I'll be happy to tell everybody I'm 56. And I limit myself as a coach, as a profession. I still only play twice a week. I limit myself to twice a week so that I don't ruin and wear out my body. Right. And like you said, Stuart, you have friends that you know that are our age, 50, 60, even 70, they're playing 5 and 7 times a week and wondering why their knees hurt, their ankles hurt, their hips hurt, their arm hurts, why they're popping Advil like, it's Tic Tacs. Well, there's a reason for that.
And I've heard my brother mention that.
Yeah. Would you recommend that? So a person comes out to play.
Right.
Would you tell them to stay with their own level, or?
That's a great question. Yeah, that gets asked quite a bit. The one of the biggest pickleball myths is this statement right here. In order to get better, you got to play against better people. You'll hear this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What this is players' justification for not drilling and practicing and getting coaching. That's what it is. That's what it is.
That does make sense.
Up until a 4.0 skill level, which is the skill levels go all the way up to a 5 and 0, 5.0 and over is considered professional. So up until and up until 4.0, it's still considered recreational. Up until that point in time, I think you should play with your own skill level, plus or minus 0.5. So, like for instance, a 3.0 player should play down with a 2.5 to help the 2.5 learn some things to play up. But meanwhile, the 3.0 player should challenge themselves against the 3.5 player. Meanwhile, the 3.5 players challenge themselves against the 4.0 player and also playing down to the 3.0. So there's that 5.5 swing that's where the magic happens. But anything better than that, all you're going to get is a butt whooping.
Yeah.
As my grandpappy said, you're in for a butt whooping.
So what do? Walk out and go, well,
Well, so most places have skill levels sectioned off. I know at Latitude Margaritaville, we have a beginner's court that's up to a 3.0, and then we have the intermediate court that's 3.0 to 3.5, and then we have the advanced courts that are 3.5 plus. And most facilities do have something like that across the country where there's competitive play and social play and skilled play.
Now, do you have a warm-up that you tell everybody to do before they get on the court?
I do. That's a great question. I do have a warm-up. Y'all are asking fabulous questions. Look at you guys go. In fact, I was just coaching this morning. I came off the courts and I was taking a new team that I'm working with and showing them a routine to go through. I call it structured practice. And in doing it, you basically warm up everything, including your mind. Physically, you warm up everything, but mentally, you warm up things as well. It takes about 2.5 minutes per person, per side. So a partnership should be able to warm up in 5 minutes. And then that specific warm up gets them ready for any shot that they might encounter in the game.
Wow, that's good.
So, yeah.
Okay. So you also say this, and I don't know how related it is to your other comment about the quality of the shots, but the way we play is based on the words we say.
Right.
Now, are you talking about on the court or at home? Is this the see, say?
See, say, do. Yeah, look at you go already. Good for you. I'm proud of you, Kim. I personally believe that who we are, how we think, how we act off the pickleball court is going to be how we are going to think, act on the pickleball court. I think I'm finding it's very difficult for a person to separate and be a different person on the pickleball courts.
Well, true. I mean,
so when I have players come to me, Kevin, say, hey, Tristan, I'd like to get better. What do I need to do to get better? They're thinking I'm going to tell them it's a special shot they should shoot, hit or work on your backhand or do. And those are things that definitely can make us better. But I always go back to, look, we gotta work with this up here first, because I firmly believe that what's going on down here is predicated by what's going on up here first, not the other way around. We don't play and then decide how to think. We think first, and that becomes how we play. So I try my very best to blend my life coaching principles and pillars into my pickleball coaching.
you mentioned writing a book.
Yes. Yes, the title of the book is See Say Do. Imagine that.
Great name.
It's See Say Do, a player's guide to success on and off the court. Because at the end of the day, I love coaching. I love seeing. I used to coach younger kids in soccer. That was my big sport and back in the day. And watching the kids' eyes light up, and they're like, "Coach, look, I scored a goal." I mean, how can you not just go, "Oh, all that work and sweat was all for that moment." I get that same feeling now when I have these seniors. I got this. I can just right now. I think of this dear lady. She's 70 years old. She and her husband just moved into Margaritaville. They took up pickleball. Now, prior to pickleball, she used to be a ballroom dancer. So that was her background. She was a student of the dance. So she took lessons to become a ballroom dancer. She's not ever played a sport. I mean, so this was new to her. The other day we went through a lesson. I was showing her some techniques, a specific shot I wanted her to hit. And actually this morning she was on the team that I was helping coach. And she actually hit the shot. She turns and goes, "Coach, look, I did it." Oh. And here's a 70-year-old woman cheering like she's a 6-year-old, kid.
Yes.
Doing the happy dance.
It was the happy dance. And in those moments, it makes all that coaching, the sweat and the wet clothes and the car that's full of all kinds of stuff. It makes those moments priceless and worth it to see the joy and the connection, even enjoyed by the seniors. Right? It just goes to show you we're still little kids at heart.
What's the difference between telling yourself "don't miss" versus "hit it deep" or
Sure.
place it wide?
Sure. I love that.
More of our confidence building here.
Yes, it is. And I wrote something down on that because I love this. That kind of goes back to avoiding our negative self-speak. One of the things that I have learned about myself and others through my life coaching is that we are our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Right? We are always putting ourselves down. And a lot of that comes from having unrealistic expectations of ourselves. So I like to remind people when they're playing pickleball, look, this is something you've just learned like a week ago, or maybe a month ago, or even a year ago. You're still learning a sport. And you're learning at an age where, you might forget what you learned the next day because our brains don't fire as like they used to 30 and 40 years ago. So you're learning something new. Like anything else you're learning, how about giving yourself some grace?
Yeah.
Right? Don't walk onto the court and expect that you're going to never miss a shot. I tell my clients, look, at this point in time, you should be happy if you hit 50% of your shots. So 1 out of every 2. You should walk away going, yeah, I really killed it today. Whereas most people would think, no, I got to hit 80% or else I got to go home dejected. So it's about setting more realistic expectations, number one. And like you said, rather than saying, come on, Tristan, you don't miss this shot. Don't miss this shot. Well, just saying those words, just hearing myself say those words make me anxious. All of a sudden I'm anxious. I'm nervous. I've put some kind of restriction on me that I can't miss. And that's the last thing I want to do. Rather, I would say, hey, Tristan, you see that spot right there? That's where you're going to go. You're going to place it right there. And then after you place it there, the ball's going to come right there and you're going to move there and kill it. You're going to get this. And that's how I say. And then it's amazing. I place it right where I said. I move right where I said I was going to move. And I put it away right like I said. Same play, just different words.
Are you more a singles or a doubles?
More doubles.
When Kim and I first started playing pickleball years ago, the people were friendly and helpful. Do you find that still the same today?
I find that can be. I honestly think it's less now than it was, say, even 5 years ago when I entered the sport. And when I talk to people, Stuart, who have played even longer than I have, they'll tell me stories of 5 years. I'm going to give you an example. 5 years ago in Chattanooga, there was one certified coach. One. I didn't even know there was one existed, but there was one in a city of 500,000 people, or in a county. And when I moved down here, 0 certified coaches here in Bay County. 0. I was the only one initially. So again, part of it is, we don't know where the coaching, where there's coaches. Since there was no coaches, people were sharing information. So if I learned a shot that worked on the court, say in 2015, if I found a shot that worked, then you came to the court as my buddy, I'd say, hey, I learned this new shot, check it out. So we shared a lot. It was more of like an information share. Now that it's become professional, now we've got leagues, we've got professional leagues that's taken on a larger approach in life. They've basically turned it into an American sport, and an American sport is monetized. You've got coaches, you've got merchandise being sold, and now you've got people that are sharing less and less information because that's kind of preparatory to themselves. Like if I've got a shot that works, and every time you come to the court, I beat you with the shot, why would I tell you that shot? Because I'm going to continue to enjoy beating it, right? So now that the coaches have come in, and coaches are at this point in time doing more of the education than it used to be, just caught and taught, like you said.
So much more competitive.
It's much more competitive now than it ever was.
Wow.
For sure.
The first time we ever played was like 2014, 2013. It was at the gym at our club for working out. And I just walked out and I go, oh, I'd like to play this. And they're like, well, go pick out a paddle and come out here and just get in line. And when somebody loses, you rotate. So I got in there and they just started saying, well, you got to hit. Here's the kitchen. While we're standing out there, and there were
instruction.
No +3,
Learn
+5.
Learn on the fly, as they
Yes.
say. Learn on the fly. And, if you have a group of 3 other people who don't mind stopping and just showing you the game right then and there, that used to happen.
Yeah.
That rarely happens now. People now, they come to play. They don't want to come and take time out of their day to teach you how to play because that's frustrating to everybody.
Right.
So that's why the instructional approach now, that's why I highly recommend if somebody's interested in learning, best thing to do is go sign up, find a local coach, sign up for a couple of their lessons or their group clinics, and be taught how to play in a non-game environment. Not when people are counting score. That's a little intimidating.
That way you'll want to come back.
Yes, sir. You'll have a more positive experience for sure.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
So now with pickleball, here's some things that seniors can look at. It can help with your focus, it can help with your agility, it can help with your coordination. There's just so many things.
Flexibility, movement, motion is lotion. I've heard that said for seniors. Motion is lotion. Any medical professional will tell you just the best thing you can do is get out of your chair and do something.
Moving.
Keep moving. So for sure, it's great for all the things you just mentioned.
Yeah. So retirees, a lot of them think, this is going to be my exercise. Mm-hmm. Do you see that a lot?
I do see that a lot. And again, I think it's fabulous. I mean, if you think about it, where else can you have lateral movements and you're lunging a lot in pickleball. You're squatting a lot.
Do you think that's good though?
It is good.
A lot? Okay.
Yeah, it is good. It's building muscles. It's strengthening connective tissues. It's joints are being reinforced. Again, it's great. It's just if you're playing it too much and you start getting chronic aches and pains, that's your body saying, time out. We need a time out. Give me a couple days of rest. And I didn't think it was possible for seniors to get FOMO. I didn't even know seniors would even know what FOMO is, but they do.
We invented FOMO.
That fear of missing out is huge and literally rampant at Latitude Margaritaville. And so, you might play in the morning and you're like, that's all it's going to play. And then you get a text from one of your girlfriends. Oh, a group of us are meeting and then going to have margaritas after. Like, well, I guess I'll go play again. And then nighttime, your husband's like, come on, let's go play. And you're like, okay.
3 times?
3 times in one. It happens all the time, Kim. 3 times in one day. And then they wonder the next day why they can't get out of bed.
So do you recommend like certain routines, breathing, bouncing the ball, visualizing? Do you have like things you tell people?
Yes, breathing is huge. Breathing is crucial. So I tell people, like, for instance, before you serve, take a deep breath and let it all out before you serve, right? Because if you're holding your breath when you serve, you'll be tense and you'll be nervous. You're more likely to make an unforced error. So definitely breathe before you serve. And then the person who's receiving the serve needs to exhale before they hit the ball so they're not holding their breath. Otherwise, they'll launch a ball and probably hit it out. And meanwhile, the ball's coming back to the serving team. They can't be holding their breath. and hit the ball because it'll launch too. So being able to just be comfortable, not hold your breath. A lot of times I reach down, I look down. I'll try to do this here in the camera. There's the camera. If someone's holding their paddle and they've got a death grip on it, so their muscles are bulging, and then they wonder why they have soreness and tennis elbow, and it's because they're so nervous they're holding the paddle like with a death grip, where we should be holding the paddle nice and lightly. So things like that are things that I try to impart with new players, and even remind seasoned players, hey, these are things you got to remember.
So have you had any examples where you have a senior whose overall health and mental attitude have improved and you've watched it
Yes.
playing that game?
Yes. I've seen, and I was thinking about that. I really can't pinpoint one person that really stands out, one or two people. I can just tell you that the players that have gone through my 101, my 201, my 301, and have taken systematically taken clinics like every week or every couple weeks, those players are playing with confidence. They're already at a 3.0, 3.5 a year later. So they're already gone from a 2.0 to a 3.5 in a yearish. By just applying the principles and the stuff that they've learned. Yeah. So yes, and to see the confidence when they play and what they like now. It used to be I'd say, hey, can I play you? And they say, oh no, coach, you make us nervous. Now they're like, hey, coach, you want to play me? So now they're challenging me. Yes, that's serious confidence, and I love that. I love that they feel that. So
You'd mentioned something a while ago about nutrition and hydration. How important is that for senior people?
Crucial. Hydration, I'll start with hydration first. Hydration, 80% of our bodies, 70% of our bodies is made up of water. 80% of our muscles are made up of water. So a large majority of our body needs water. We're in the Florida, we're out in the sun. The sun is pulling moisture out of us. So the largest organ that your body has is your skin. So it holds at least 2 liters of water. So I tell people, if you're playing pickleball, if pickleball is your sport and you're playing it at least 2 or 3 times a week, you better at least be drinking 3/4 or up to a gallon of water a day just to stay hydrated.
So do you do mostly morning or during the heat of the summer?
During the heat of summer, we take a block off from 11 to 5. Nothing happens. I just won't schedule it.
Couldn't even imagine.
It's hard for people to focus when you're just draining. So it usually from 7 till 10 a.m. in the morning, and then from 5 until 9 in the evening.
And this is outdoor.
This is all outdoors. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. All outdoors.
Because indoor might be
Indoor would be nice if it was indoors. It's always nice when you play indoor. Outdoor, I take 3 shirts and 4 towels, and indoors, I take nothing. I never even hardly break a sweat. So it's a pleasant experience.
What's the funniest thing you've ever had happen on a pickleball court?
Wow, funniest thing I've ever had happen on a pickleball court. Probably, a couple things. So one of my signature shots is called the lob. And for those who may not know what a lob shot is, instead of keeping the ball, 6 feet or up to 6 feet height in the court, a lob is basically you're hitting way high in the air, sometimes as high as you possibly can. And sometimes I can get 30, 40 feet in the air with my lob shot. It's a strategic offensive shot. It's also a strategic defensive shot. Well, this one particular day, I was hitting a defensive lob, and my whole point was just to hit as high as I could possibly hit to give me time to turn around and get set. I hit the ball so hard that a bird flew into it. And I hit the bird, and we all laughed because the ball went crazy out of bounds. And we were like, we were all just sitting there going, how did that happen?
How was the bird?
How's the bird? Yeah, the bird just kept on flying. But that was probably the most bizarre experience on that. Another funny thing that happened on the court, it's a good question, and my brain is scrambling. I wouldn't say things as much as funny, like haha, like something I just laughed at things, as much as I would say I find that there's just, if you don't bring negative energy to the court, you'll just find a lot of reasons to laugh and have fun. So rather than a funny moment, it's just a lighthearted exercise or sport.
Yeah.
And I try to remind myself when I show up, I'm here to have fun and make friends. I'm not here to win games. Winning games doesn't really do much for fun and for you take it too seriously. Stuart is kind of guess what I'm trying to say. I try to keep it lighthearted.
Keep it light.
Yes.
Well, we have, unfortunately, we got our time notice.
No.
But I enjoyed listening
It
to this.
flew by.
Whoever thinks about, if you're watching the game, that pickleball has so many facets and so much just focus and some of your confidence statements, the whole life lesson. I mean, that sounds good.
Yeah, well, it is. It's been really good, and it's been pickleball. I think before we started the podcast, we were talking about how I got here. So I moved here 2 years ago, and this was not. I didn't move here for this job. This job fell into my lap, and it's been a blessing. It's been fabulous. It's been a great way to meet new people since I relocated and didn't have any friends when I moved here. My wife and I moved here. We didn't know anybody. And at Margaritaville, where I tend to coach mostly, everybody that moved there didn't know anybody. They picked up from where they all over the country and moved. So everybody's here. We're kind of transplants. We're all trying to get to know each other. So pickleball has been a happy place to come together to introduce yourself and make new friends. And I think that we see that all over the country.
And that's what we were talking. We had a person on here, Becky Sowers is a golf pro. And they have a community of people who play golf. And these are friends. They come in as seniors, and now they have these sisters or brothers. And
Exactly. It's like, yeah, just like, it's almost like, how were we not friends? Like, where have you been all my life kind of friends? It's really interesting how you rally and bond around something. Before we go, I've got something for the two of you. We were talking about, togetherness and whatnot. And here's, I'm a big firm believer in teams.
Oh,
and so all the teams that I coach, they get a bag with that saying on it just to help remind them that they can be teams. And for the two of you today, I wanted to give you, since we said see, say, do so much, since it's actually going to be my book, it's also the way I coach. So I wanted y'all to have, I got you your own see, say, do mug. And then on the back of it.
And we can drink a liter of water.
This holds 30 ounces of water, so 3 of those a day are really good.
That is great.
But that's a customized logo, and on the back side that you're seeing where your fingers are is a logo. And on the bottom, I put see? I actually designed that.
So.
Yeah, and so when you're drinking it, you can see, yeah. But it's a reminder, see, say, do. So when you're at the court, you go to get a drink, there it is again. Same thing with the bracelet. Inside that cup, you'll find you each have a bracelet. And on the one side, it says, see, say, do. There you are for the camera. And on the other side, it says, be intentional. It's just another reminder, not only on the pickleball court, but in life. Are we being intentional with what we're doing in life?
Well, let me read this real quick. You have team, together, everyone achieves more. Coming together as a beginning, keeping together as progress, working together as success. Teamwork makes the dream work. Thank you for being a key part of the team. Well, we have something for you too.
Fabulous.
We have our
Excuse me.
Retired Life koozies
yay.
and our Retired Life pickleball, which is
Score.
we got some paddles on
Yay,
there.
I got paddles. Well, that's great. Fantastic.
And some stickers. If you have a golf cart, you want to stick it on, or your refrigerator.
I will stick it on my cup that I use and play pickleball with. That's where I stick my other stuff on it. So fabulous. Thank you so very much.
Well, Tristan, thank you for giving us all that information. I think it'll be very informative for people that were on the fence trying to decide whether or not they wanted to get out there. And hopefully it'll persuade a bunch of people to go play pickleball.
Yeah, and I'm assuming I've got a pickleball website that y'all can tag in your thing. So if anybody is in the Bay County area or the Walton County area, I tend to stay here on 98 in the Emerald Coast area. But if anybody's interested in
Well, we'll
lessons
add those
or
to the
connecting
show
with
notes.
me as a coach,
Yeah.
I'll
We'll
be
put
happy
those in our show notes.
to talk to them. Sure, yeah.
And then don't forget to support the show so we can keep bringing you these great guests.
Thank you.
And we have merchandise. So check out Retired Life, wywh.com. And remember to subscribe and
like.
follow.
That's right.
And like. Subscribe, follow, like.
That's right.
Thank
Just
you.
keep punching a button.
All of them.
All the buttons. Guys, thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you for being here.
All right.
Appreciate it.